Dear Father in heaven, we are so much grateful for this opportunity to share our talent, our skills, our knowledge that you imparted to us. We are so much grateful, Father, for so many blessings despite of this pandemic. That still you're with us and helping us, guiding us. We ask you, Father, that throughout this lesson, guide us that we will be able to deliver it well, and so that our listener will get the importance of this discussion for today. We ask the Father to guide us the presenter, guide us our group, and impart the knowledge that we may be able to answer all the clarification and questions of our classmates, our colleagues, our uh, group. And all these things, Father, we humbly pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
And
All right.
Amen.
So are you excited?
Yes,
If
sir.
you are, so this is our objective. Dapat jolly kita tanan. At the end of the discussion, it is expected that 75% of the future professional teacher are able to discuss their role in the community, the higher authority, and to the learners. Right. So to open this, let me share you this uh, the opening message. Teachers are duly licensed professionals who possess dignity and reputation with high moral values as well as technical and professional competence. In the practice of their noble profession, they strictly adhere to observe and practice this set of ethical and moral principles, standards, and values. Our task for today is all about the code of ethics for professional teachers. Here is the name of our group. I am the leader, James Abisol. First presenter, Reverdy Padilla, Al Francis Sulungan, and Ma'am Abisol de la Cruz. And we are privileged to discuss, number one is the article number 5, number 2, the article number 6, and number 3, the article number 8 of the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers. Okay, first, if you are ready to listen now, I will introduce to you our first presenter. She is a graduating student and from San Carlos City, all the way down from San Carlos City. And today we are privileged to listen to his uh, task for today. Her name is Beverly J. Padilla. Let me welcome him with a round of applause, please. Virtual.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you. So, Beverly, proceed.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So, okay. So, we are now going to cast the Code of Ethics of Professional Teacher, Article 5, Letter Teaching Community. Created. So, let's start in Section 1. So, okay. So, sir, Section 1, teachers shall at all times be imbued with a spirit of professional loyalty, mutual confidence, and faith in one another, self-sacrifice for a common good, and full cooperation with colleagues. When the best of the learners, the school, or the profession is a state of controversy, teachers shall support one another. So in Section 1 states, that the teacher should be imbued or inspired with the spirit of professional loyalty, mutual confidence, and the teacher should trust with his colleagues and work with them hand in hand in the spirit of protecting the integrity of the school community, integrity of the students, as well as their own professional integrity. So, Sir James, are you with me?
Oh, so
Yes.
So
sorry.
again, so the teacher should trust, okay, again, so the teacher should trust with his colleagues and work with them hand in hand in the spirit of protecting the integrity of the school community, integrity of the students, as well as their own professional integrity. So they should trust other teachers in doing their part towards sacrificing your time and effort or giving up of one's own interest in order to help others for the sake of common good. So, what is common good? So, common goods refers to holding society in peace and harmony. This may be done by doing your inherent work as the teacher and the leader of the community. Example of the common good, the farmer shares common good as he farm all day to serve food for his family and, and in the same time supply crops for the rest of the people in the community. Other example are police protection, following laws, and avoiding illegal activity. So, Sir James,
Yes,
Yes,
thank
okay,
thank
so
you,
you're with
you,
me?
Miss
Miss
Beverly
Beverly
Padilla.
Padilla.
Okay. So,
So, can I
So, can
add?
I
Sir
add
James, have a
Yes.
yes. Thank you,
Thank you,
okay.
Miss
Miss
Continue,
Padilla,
Padilla,
once
once
again.
again.
I may
I may
add for
add for
this
this
statement.
statement.
Teachers
Teachers
should
should
build
build
harmonious
harmonious
relationship
relationship
with
with
one
one
another.
another.
He or
He or
she
she
must
must
always
always
remember that
remember that
all their
all their
effort
effort
is for
is
the
for the
interests
interest
of the
of the
learners.
learners.
Teacher
Teacher
must
must
consider
consider
that
that
one
one
needs
needs
support.
support.
For
For
example,
example, during
during
school
school
activities,
activities,
doing
doing
their
their
best
best
and
and
shows
shows
cooperation
cooperation
with
with
one
one
another,
another,
giving
giving
out
out
their
their
service
service
to
to
make
make
the
the
program
program
successful.
successful.
For
Teamwork,
teamwork, as
as
we
we
define,
define
the word
the
teamwork
word
here
teamwork here,
is the
is the
ability to
ability to
work
work
together
together
toward a
toward a
common
common
vision.
vision.
The
The
ability
ability
to
to
direct
direct
individual
individual
accomplishments
accomplishments
towards
towards
organizational
organizational
objectives.
objectives.
It
It
is
is
the
the
fuel
fuel
to
that
allows
allows
common
common
people
people
to
to
attain
attain
uncommon
uncommon
results.
results.
That
That
is
is
from
from
Andrew
Andrew
Carnegie.
Carnegie.
As
As
John
John
Dickinson
Dickinson
said
said
in
in
1768
1768
in
in
the
the
Liberty
Liberty
Song,
Song,
they
then
joined
join
hand
hand
in
in
hand,
hand,
brave
brave
Americans
Americans
all.
all.
By
By
uniting
uniting
we
we
stand,
stand,
by
by
dividing
dividing
we
we
fall.
fall. Right,
Right?
so
So
go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Miss
Miss
Beverly.
Beverly.
okay. So, thank you, Sir James. Please proceed in section 2. Okay, Sir James. Okay. A teacher is not entitled to claim for work not of his own and shall give due credit for the work of others which he may use. So in section 2 tell us to remember not to claim honor for things which are not ours. In the written word and the sentence, the paragraph, or some portions of the notes was captured by an author, a book, or a research. Remember to cite the owner of the text and give due credit to them. Very clear that we should not to claim to honor for things which are not ours. So when it comes group work, if it's joint effort, um, give part to remember there is no I in a team. So you have to give credit to your teammates. Other short clarification for Sir James.
Teachers must see to it that recognition to the work of others, of other, is very important. Saying thank you for the work of others and to not to claim the work of others, because we all know that it is against with the Republic Act number 8293 or Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. For example, borrowing documents or papers of your co-teacher, which is not yours. See to it that you will be able to recognize their work. The word plagiarism says the practice of taking someone else's works or ideas and passing them off as one's own. Copy paste. All right.
Okay. So let's proceed in section 3. Okay. So, for leaving okay. Sige. Section 3, before leaving his position, a teacher shall organize and leave to his successor such records and data as are necessary to carry on work. So, in section 3, it is very clear that in case you'd like to transfer to another school or another work, remember to surrender your records to your successor, meaning to the person who will replace you. Carefully orient your successor and turn over all the necessary documents such as students' information, grades, and more that are related to the student or school, which he will need. Make sure that you will have a graceful exit. So, Sir James?
Teachers must remember that before to leave his position, all records should be organized in order for the next to occupy the work will manage smoothly. For example, if
If
Mr.
Mr.
Eater
Eater
will
will
be
be
transferred to
transferred to
other
others,
school and handled grade 3 Maharlika, and he will secure that all documents of the same grade will be organized. Must secure that the documents are organized. Beverly,
Okay, in section 4. Okay.
all
Walang magagawa.
right. Are
Okay.
we still set there?
Alright. Section 4. So, ayun na. So, Section 4, a teacher shall hold inviolate all confidential information concerning associates and the school not divulge to anyone documents which have not yet officially released or removed or the records from the files without official permission. So in section 4, confidentiality should always be observed. The student's records in the different school documents. You should not share when close or reveal it. So remember, you have to learn proper disclosure etiquette, even when untoward things happening inside the school premises. So you have to learn when to disclose it, and you have to make sure that you are avoid rumor mongering, or meaning giving factless information to others who will not able to help in the occurrences.
Teachers must be considered confidential enough in all the documents of the school, including records or documents which are not officially released. For example, the school
Okay.
has been suspended because of some issues. Then share the documents or records without asking for the permission of the school administration.
So let's move on in section 5. Section 5 shall be responsibility of every teacher to seek corrective for what may appear to be an unprofessional, and unethical conduct of any associate. This may be done only if there is incontrovertible evidence for such conduct. So, this section tells us that in case a colleague or coworker have done something towards violating this code of ethics or making the integrity of the profession full out, proper venue must be observed. Again, you have to avoid rumor mongering or giving tactless information to someone who will not be able to help you. You have to seek proper authority, and evidences must support your claim and grievances.
It is the responsibility of the teacher to seek any concerns with regards to the behaviors, since teachers are known to be morally and ethically upright all times. For example, before reporting to any concern, it is necessary to seek empathy for his conduct or misbehavior to avoid judgments. It is important to first, can we first back to the basic. First is to accept it when it's true. Second, be humble and learn from the corrections. And the last one is to change when needed.
Okay, let's proceed in section 6. A teacher may submit to the proper authorities any justifiable criticism against an associate, preferably in writing, without violating the rights of individual concerned. So, in section 6, like what I say in section 5, in case a colleague have done something towards violating this code of ethics, proper venue must be observed. And again, avoid giving tactless information to someone who will not be able to help you. You have to seek the proper authority. So, and evidences is important to support your claim, and it should be properly documented, submitted to the right authority, and always remember that be a professional when dealing with grievances.
Teachers must not post to any social media account, not telling others if there are queries or reaction, criticism against the school or administration. Teachers must talk privately or formally write a letter to any complaint to one individual. Ano pa sa kawani ng gobyerno ay nagsasaad na
na
magsasalita
magsasalita
ako laban sa
laban sa
katiwalian
katiwalian
at
at
pagsasamantala.
Okay, section 7, the last section. A teacher may apply for a vacant position for which is for which he is qualified, provided that he respect the system of selection on the basis of merit and competence. Provided further that all qualified candidates are given the opportunity to be considered. In section 7 reflects that in case you would like to apply for a vacant position for promotion or maybe higher teaching position or an administrative position, you will be allowed to do so, provided you follow all the rules and regulation of selection and respect the way you will be evaluated. At the same time, you have to assist yourself also. Apply only when you think that you are qualified. You have to evaluate your own capacity and credential.
All teachers who are qualified know the position shall apply any vacancies with the assurance that the teachers will follow the selection systems. For example, submitting requirements to apply for a position or ranking of teachers gi- are given the opportunity to submit their papers without any biases. Consider this. We
We
have
have
a
a
DepEd order.
DepEd order.
The DepEd
The
has a
DepEd
law.
has a law.
They had
They
an
had an
attorney.
attorney.
The DepEd
The
has a
DepEd has
memos.
memos.
The
The
DepEd has a
DepEd has a
ranking
ranking
system.
system.
The
The
DepEd has
DepEd has
a
a
QRA,
QRA
or the
or the
qualified
qualified
registered
registered
applicant.
applicant.
And they're
And they're
looking
looking
for
for
some
some
trainings,
trainings,
seminars,
seminars.
and as
And
of
as of
now,
now,
that
that
is
is
very
very
needful
needful
for
for
their,
their,
what do
what
you
do you
call
call
this?
this?
Part
Part
of
of
their
their
uh,
uh,
system
system
of
of
selecting
selecting
a,
a,
what do you
what do you
call
call
this
this
word?
word? The
The applicants.
applicants. Uh,
So
So
another
another
requirement. All right,
Alright,
so
so
that's
that's
it.
it.
That's
That's
our
our
Article
Article
5.
5.
And
And
we
we
hope
hope
So,
that
that
any
you
question?
understand that.
is
Is
there
there
any
any
questions
questions
or
or
clarification
clarification
or
or
you
you
may
may
add
add
on,
on?
just
Just
let
let
us
us
know.
know.
Or
Or
maybe
maybe
after
after
the
the
presentation.
presentation.
Yes.
Alright,
Alright,
so
so
there's
there's
none.
none.
We
We
will
will
now
now
proceed.
proceed.
But
But
first,
first,
let
let
me
me
say
say
thank
thank
you
you
for
for
our
our
first
first
presenter,
presenter, Miss
Miss
Beverly
Beverly
Pradilla.
Pradilla. Now,
Now,
we
we
will
will
now
now
go
go
to
to
our
our
next
next
presenter.
presenter.
He
He
is
is
also
also
a
a
graduating
graduating
student
student
in
in
Fellowship
Fellowship
Baptist
Baptist
College.
College.
He
Wow.
is
He's
a
a
dancer
dancer.
Wow.
and
And
also
also
a dramatist. All right.
we will proceed now to his lesson
In
in
Article
Article
Section
Section
6.
6. Go
Go ahead.
ahead.
So, good evening, everyone. So, as James says, I am Alfrancis Songon. Um, my report for today is Article 6, the teacher in the higher authorities in the Philippines. So, next, James, please. So, Section 1. Every teacher shall make it his duty to make an honest effort to understand and support the legitimate policies of the school in the administration, regardless of personal feeling or private opinion, and shall faithfully carry them out. So, next, James. So, a teacher at all times must portray honesty within the school and among its administrators. Teachers must support all the policies and guidelines of the school and set aside the personal issues of feelings and make sure that all policies shall be followed heartedly. So, kinahanglan nila nga i-follow ang policies ng school kay importante gina siya sa eskwelahan. So,
Tagalog ah.
next, Jake. Section 2. A teacher shall not make any false accusations or charges against superiors, especially under anonymity. However, if there are valid charges, he should present such under oath to competent authority. Next, James, please. So, teacher are embodied with ethical standards. So, therefore, he or she must show respect to the superiors, and if situations or problems may occur, teachers are not necessarily accused with false accusations, but it should have evidences to prove that the superior is guilty, and teachers should make an oath that his or her statement is true and valid. So sa section 3 na ta, thank you James. So, a teacher shall transact all official business through channels except when special conditions warrant a different procedure, such as when special conditions are advocated but are opposed by immediate superiors, in which case the teacher shall appeal directly to the appropriate higher authority. So, ang teacher must at all times by accountable of all official business and shall guarantee that all official transactions shall have Procedures. Teacher may appeal to higher authority if permission will not be granted. So sa section 4 na ta, thank you James. Every teacher individually or as part of a group has a right to seek redress against injustice to the administration and to extent possible shall raise grievances within acceptable democratic processes. In doing so, they shall avoid jeopardizing the interests and the welfare of learners whose right to learn must be respected. Thank you, James. Teachers Teachers may speak out of his or her rights and can raise reactions or any grievances regarding the admissions but still carrying ethical standards and in a democratic way. Teachers must see to it that the welfare of the learners will not be affected in doing so. Respect and give it to give it. So, ano isang image? So, section 5 na ta. Every teacher has a right to invoke the principle that appointments, promotions, and transfer of teachers are made only on the basis of merit and needed in the interest of the teacher. So teachers' appointments or promotion or even transfer shall be given depending on the recognition of or merit he or she received. So, sa last part na ta sa section 6. So, a teacher who accepts a position assumes a contractual obligation to live up to his contract, assuming full knowledge of employment terms and conditions. So, teacher must duly assumes all the position he or she has. Teachers must be embody all tasks given to him or her, which also see to it that teachers have knowledge on the terms and conditions of the obligation upon of his or her employment. So that is the
Yes, thank you, Sir Al Francis Sulungan, for that wonderful presentation. I mean, for the Article 8, it's all about the teachers and with the higher authorities in the Philippines or everywhere in the community. So
thank you.
it speaks about the procedures, the organization, or let's just so-called a, I don't know what the term, but we will proceed now to our last presenter. All right. Our last presenter is now in teaching. Is
She
she
is
is
already a
already a
teacher
teacher in his only residence here. I'm here now in
her home. She
She
is
is
a
a
pastor's
pastor's
wife
wife
and
and
a mother of
mother of
two, I
two,
think.
Yes, sir.
And
and
wonderful
wonderful
mother.
mother.
All as I,
Well,
Yeah.
that's all I can say. We get along for a while, just
a
a
little
little
time.
time,
But
but
my
my
heart,
heart,
no, it's
no,
really
it's really
flattered to
to
this
this
girl.
girl.
And
Uh,
without
Without
any
any
further
further
ado,
ado,
this
this
is
is
our
our
last
last
presenter,
presenter,
and
and
no
no
other
other
than
than
she
she
is
is
Mrs.
Mrs.
Amison M. De La Cruz. Let's give her a round of applause. So, ma'am, proceed.
Wow. What a wonderful introduction. Thank you, Sir James. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sir John Ray. My topic for this evening is Article 8, which is the teachers and the learners. In Section 1, I have here a teacher has a right and duty to determine the academic marks and the promotion of learners in the subjects they handled.
Such determination shall be in accordance with a generally accepted procedures and evaluation and measurement. In case of any complaint, teachers concerned immediately take appropriate action, observing the process. Okay, I would like to share this with you. Teacher has the right to determine the academic progress of the student, which is in accordance with the grading system. Teachers must imply
Simple.
simply avoid biases among the students in giving grades. If parents will ask questions or complaining about the grades of their children, teacher must deal with the due process of law. Dito na po papasok yung you have always to be ready to show your records being a teacher to every parent or every guardian na magko-complain according to the grades of their children. As a teacher, you have to be ready. Supporting documents, results ng mga exams, result ng mga quizzes, you have to put in together so that when a parent or a guardian come to you and to ask kung ano po, bakit ganito lang grade ng anak ko, you have always to be ready with your grading system, lahat yun, dapat naka-ready for them to be satisfied about the result of the grades of their kids. Only teacher, I have here, I want you to take note of this. Take note, please. Only teacher can determine the class participation or class performance of the learner. Wala pong dapat magsasabi sa inyo na ganito ang anak ko, magaling siya sa klase, lagi siyang nagpa-participate. No, only the teacher can determine it. Kasi siya lang naman ang kasama ng anak nyo, ng learner sa loob ng classroom. So siya lang ang may karapatan na magsasabi na ang anak nyo po ay magaling sa loob ng klase. Lagi po siyang nagpa-participate. Only teacher can do that. Okay, next example. Teachers giving a low grade to a grade 5 student because most of them were not able to submit their requirements. Teacher explained it clearly regarding to the basis of their grades. Dapat naka-ready na. Yung sinasabi ko, dapat naka-ready na yung grading system mo, kung saan ilang percent ba, bakit ito lang ang nakuha niya, bakit ito lang ang sa quizzes niya, bakit ganito. You have always to be ready. Para naman, pag nagtanong yung nanay, hindi ka mag-aalangan. But you have to be confident to tell the mother or the guardian na ito yung grades niya. Wala tayong magawa, ito lang ang nakaya ng anak mo. And then the teacher should always be ready with the rubrics. Dapat may rubrics ka na pagbabasihan. Hindi yung i-estimate mo lang. Magiging ano ka doon, magiging bias ka doon, or it depends upon your mood, it depends upon your emotion that day. Kaya dapat mayroon kang rubrics na pagbabasihan kung bakit saan mo ba binase yung grades na binigay mo sa learner. And so that if there is any complaint, you are always ready to show your records para walang masabi. Okay, in section number 2, a teacher shall recognize that the interest and welfare of learners are his first and foremost concern, and shall handle its learner justly and impartially. Okay, we are going to discuss the word impartially. Impartially means equal treatment among the learners. You should be fair. You exercise an equal treatment to your students. Being a teacher, ito po ang mahirap i-handle, yung being fair. Pero kailangan natin to para hindi kita mag-guilty to our learners. Hindi kita mahiya, hindi tayo mahihiyang mag-talk sa parents kasi you are just fair. Nilalagay lang natin kung anong karapat-dapat para sa hindi tayo affected by our emotions. Kasi mayroon tayong goal, mayroon tayong na-set na rubrics para sa ating mga learners. Okay, here it is. The teacher must consider the interest and welfare of the learning regarding the subject. The teacher must know that not all activity may apply to everyone. Thus, varied teaching strategies may be applied. Teacher must show fairness in every students. Ito yung sinasabi ko na ang teacher dapat ay naka-prepare siya ng hindi lamang, you cannot prepare a lesson that one lesson fit all. Hindi po pwede yon. Kasi yung intellectual capability ng ating mga learners, hindi pare-pareho. So like sa activity, mayroong activity, yung isang learner ay kaya niyang activity na pinapagawa niyo. Mayroon namang isang learner na hindi niya kaya. So what you should do? Kaya dapat mayroon kang variety of activities na piniprepare for those learners para kung saan siya nabilong, saan siya nababagay na mga activities, yun dapat ang gagawin natin bilang teacher. Hindi tayo, we are not allowed to prepare only one activity tapos pipilitin mo yung ayaw. Hindi po pwede yon. Kaya being a teacher, we have to prepare a variety of activities for our pupils. For example, teacher who is giving opportunity to all students to join in school activities, whether you are a star section or the last section. Before merong mga nangyaring, ito lang siya, i-join natin yung mga mga nasa star section lang kasi mabilis silang bigyan ng instructions. Ito yung mga nasa last section, wag na silang i-join kasi maano sila, sobra silang hyper, hindi natin sila ma-hold. No, hindi natin pwedeng gawin yon. Kailangan, we have to be fair. We have to consider their limitations. We have to consider their emotions. Baka hindi natin isasali, syempre masasaktan. At hindi lang dahil nasa star section ba sila, dapat sila na lang palagi. Hindi po pwede yon. Dapat, nakasaad dito na dapat we are fair in treating them para hindi sila masasaktan. Wala tayong ma-discriminate na feeling ng mga learners natin. Section 3. Under no circumstance shall a teacher be prejudiced or discriminatory against any learner. I would like to give a meaning to a prejudice. Prejudice means having or showing a dislike or distrust. Hindi po pwede. Tinawag tayo bilang teacher, dapat kasi ayoko nito, sobra itong ano. I would like to share this to you. This is my personal experience. Meron kaming pupil dito na hindi siya nakikinig. Mas gusto niyang palaging nene-mention yung name niya. Christian, sit down. Christian, huwag. Okay lang, sir. Ano lang, sir? I-on lang, sir. Ay, so sorry. Sorry, namatay yung ilaw namin. Sir, sorry po. Ay. Ano na ni Sir Man? Napatay ko, sir. Sino nalubat?
I-on ang camera mo, ma'am.
Wait, ma'am. Nag-fluctuate yung ano.
Batian ka lang, ma'am. Batian ka lang yapon.
Batian ka lang
We
yapon.
can hear you.
You can't hear me. Okay.
Yes.
Namatay yung ilaw namin dito. Sorry po. Yung screen ni sir. Sir,
Still okay.
Ay,
Try mo.
naririnig nyo lang po?
Oo, ma'am.
Okay, sige.
Yes,
Prejudice
yes,
or
we can hear you.
discriminatory.
Loud and
Thank
clear.
you. Prejudice or discriminatory against any learner. Okay, let us give a meaning to prejudice, having or showing dislike or distrust. Hindi po pwedeng ang pupil ay ayaw mo, ay wala po, hindi dapat po yung mangyayari sa atin bilang teacher. Dapat po fair tayo sa pag-treat ng ating mga pupils. And discriminatory means a bias. We should not do that because that is not allowed sa ating mga teacher. Okay, teacher shall not allow to discriminate learners. Teacher must always remember the welfare of the learner. For example, accept respecting the differences of every learner inside the classroom regarding their ages, color, race, or family status, or even their belief. Hindi natin silang pwedeng ihusgahan dahil itong paniniwala nila. Kaya dapat magiging magiging fair tayo to treat them kahit na mayroong mga, especially sa status ng life nila. May mga learners tayo na minsan sobrang mahirap, mayroon namang minsan nakakaangat, but we are going to treat them equally. Sorry na namatay talaga. Naririnig nyo lang po.
Oh, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Actually, your voice
Yes,
is
ma'am,
loud
sir.
and clear, but we don't see your presentation.
Yes, sir, namatay po sir yung computer ni Sir James kasi
Okay.
biglang sir nag-brown out dito sa amin.
Okay. It's okay. No problem. You can continue. Anyway, you have only few slides left.
Okay, sir.
Ma'am.
Ara na? Okay, teacher shall not allocate. Next, section 4. We are now in section 4. They're fixing the computer, sir. I will just continue and then maybe later na din nila yung
Please share
Okay,
your
a
presentation
teacher.
with them.
Okay, yes, sir. Section 4, a teacher shall not accept favors or gifts from learners, their parents, or others in their behalf in exchange of requested concessions, especially if undeserved. Okay, I would like to give again the meaning of the word concession. A thing that is granted especially in response to demand. Sa school po namin, sir, I would like to cite this example. Dito po sa school, bago po mag-start yung klase sa June, yung opening of classes, sinasama po namin to sa orientation namin to the parents and to the guardians that we are not strictly receiving any gifts from our parents or guardian. A teacher must know para hindi sila sir ma-offend kasi alam na nila yung rules and regulation ng school na hindi kami tumatanggap ng any gifts. Kaya if ever na magbigay sila ng gift at i-refuse namin, hindi po sila masasaktan kasi on the start pa lang nung klase ng school year, ini-emphasize na namin sa kanila, pinaalam na namin sa kanila yung rules and policy ng school. That is part of our policy here. Teacher must know that receiving gifts from the parents are not allowed. Since teacher are receiving salary, and it should not be avoided to accept favors or gifts coming from our parents or of the learners. I would like, okay. Next, section 5. Nasa section 5 na po tayo. Sorry, they still fixing the computer, sir. A teacher shall not accept directly or indirectly any remuneration from tutorials other than what is authorized for such service. Sa pagkakaintindi ko nito, sir, correct me if I'm wrong. Kung example po ako, tinuturuan ko po ay kindergarten. Pag mayroon pong magpa-tutor sa akin na kindergarten din, hindi ko tinatanggap. I-refer ko siya sa ibang teacher, like teacher ng nursery, teacher ng pre-kindergarten. Pero pag ako ang advisory, hindi ko tinatanggap yung tutorial kasi I don't want to be ma-accuse ako na bias, baka tumaas yung grades niya kasi tinuruan siya ni ma'am. Kasi niya yan pupil niya yan or kaya hindi po ako tumatanggap ng tutorial if ko siya sir, pupil ko yung estudyante. Okay. A teacher who is teaching in school where learner is enrolled will not be allowed to conduct any tutorial to avoid issues. Ito na pong sinasabi ko. Biases regarding the giving of grades and others. Okay, let's now go to section 6. Thank you, sir. A teacher shall base the evaluation of the learner's work on merit and qualify of academic performance. Okay, this is the responsibility of teachers to give evaluation grades regarding to the work of the learner, including the academic performance, written works, and others. It is the responsibility of the teacher to assess the student performance. Like sa grading system ngayon, mas malaki yung percentage na binibigay sa performance kaysa sa parang 40% at or 60% school, kaysa sa quizzes or sa exams and the homeworks. Mas malaki yung binibigay sa sa bata kasi mas makikita ng teacher na ito, yung work na to ay ginawa talaga ng bata. Unlike dun sa assignment na maybe with the help, baka tinuruan ito. At least, kung sa performance, i-base natin yung grades na malaking percentage, alam natin na ang gawa talaga ng bata yon. At only the teacher can determine it kasi nakikita ng teacher sa school. And then, let's go to section 7. In a situation where mutual attraction, eto, excited ako dito. In a situation where mutual attractions and subsequent love develop between teacher and learners, the teacher shall exercise utmost professional discretion, bawal, to avoid scandal, gossip, and preferential treatment of the learner. Hindi talaga po pwede. Sad to say, pero hindi talaga po pwede. You have to sacrifice your profession if you are really in love with your learner. Basta love, so excited ako eh. Wala tayong magagawa dito. Kahit tinanong ko kanina yung mga kasama ko, hindi ba talaga po pwede? Sabi na hindi, ma'am. Dapat you have to leave your profession. Drop it out, drop it down. Kung mahal mo talaga yung estudyante mo. Buti na lang kindergarten ang tinuturuan ko. Okay. It is a no to engage in a relationship among your students. Harmonious relationship is good, but not to the extent to fall in love with your student. Pwede lang, sir, tago lang. Pwede kaya yon? Hindi ko lang sasabihin. Take note.
Hindi pwede, ma'am.
Hindi pwede. Sige. Take note that being a teacher, you need to be a role model and in order to avoid gossip. Kasi pag pag chichismisan din kayo. Kaya wag na lang. Wag, it's a big no-no nga. Okay. Let's go to section 8. Okay, again bawal po yung ma-fall in love sa estudyante. Next, section 8. A teacher shall not inflict corporal punishment, offending learners nor make deduction from their scholastic rating as a punishment for acts which is clearly not manifestation of poor scholarship. Okay, dito naman, laging sinasabi na bawal talag. You have always give encouragement, positive approach palagi ang binibigay natin sa learners. Kung mayroong kasalanan, we are not allowed, strictly prohibited to magbigay ng corporal punishment sa mga bata. Hindi talaga po pwede. We should be aware of this. Kasi sometimes, we are just carried by our emotion. Nakakalimutan natin to. Pero, dapat laging isaisip natin ito, especially to the preschool teachers, kasi makukulit sila, dapat nating isipin na bawal talaga. Pwede tayong ma-technical dito. Pag hindi natin ito, medyo tinatandaan na bawal magbigay ng corporal punishment to the learners. Pwede, pag mayroong kasalanan, you have to take it, give advice positively. Always positive approach. Ibigay natin sa ating mga learners. Okay, and then, hindi po pwedeng, kasi makulit siya, hindi po pwedeng bigyan natin i-deduct natin yung grades niya. Hindi yun po pwede. May i-cite din akong example sa, ito sa estudyante ko rin. Meron akong pupil dito, kindergarten, na pag nagbibigay ako ng, kunyari, magkukulay kami, lahat ng punong kahoy, mga dahon, ang lagi niyang nilalagay na color ay itim. Kinuha ko siya, lumabas kami, sabi ko sa kanya, tingnan mo yung punong kahoy, ano ba ang kulay ng dahon? Sabi niya, green. Pagbalik namin sa loob ng classroom, ang kanyang kinulay ay itim pa rin. Dapat habaan yun pala, tinanong ko yung nanay, bakit ganon? Yun pala, yung anak niya noon, nakadaan sila sa gilid ng kalsada na mayroong nasusunog na puno. Na yung nakita na lang nila, yung itim na mga dahon na dahil nga nasunog, yun yung nakaregister sa mind ng bata. Kaya hindi tayo mapikon doon kung gano'n yung bata. We are going to know. Bakit? Bakit tinuturuan na kita na ang dahon ay green? Bakit itim pa rin? Yun pala may pinanggalingan. Kaya I would like to dito kasi minsan tayo dyan nasushort nahahay yung temper natin, nasushort yung patience natin. Kaya, and then the explanation here, teacher are not allowed to impose corporal punishment or physical punishment if the student will make mistakes or problem with the behaviors. Teacher are not allowed to deduct grades or rating from the students. Okay, last. Ito na po yung section 9. A teacher shall ensure that contributions to the maximum development of the learners are adequate and shall extend needed assistance in preventing or solving learners' problem and difficulties. Teachers are always open for any concerns and always extend help when it is needed. Yun po yung role natin. We have to put that in our mind na ini-ensure natin palagi ang maximum, the maximum na pwede nating i-help sa ating learners. Kasi yun naman yung role natin. Teachers must be a helping hand to any problem and difficulties of every learner. Be sure that teacher is a blessing, not a burden. That is my motto in life. Be a blessing. Always be a blessing. Yun po. And then, for the conclusion, I would like to turn it over to our leader. Sir, ang ganda ng introduction niya sa akin, tungkuanan ako. Sir James Sabisol, take your turn, sir.
Alright! So, maraming salamat po sa iyo, Ma'am Amisol. We are so grateful to have you this night for discussing about the article number 8. Di ko talaga lubos maisip kung paano niya nakayanan na ipagpatuloy ang discussion po namin. Kahit na
Namatay.
nawala ako sa Kaya, andito ako ulit. Bumalik po. So, maraming salamat po. At saka, bumalik po kami at tinapos po namin. Salamat po sa lahat. Thank you so much for the first presenter. Miss Beverly Pradilla, thank you so much for the second presenter, Sir Al Francis Solomon, and for the last presenter, Ma'am Amiso. Are you still?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In conclusion, for our future professional teachers, and somehow there is a professional teacher already. A professional code of ethics outlines teachers' main responsibilities to their students and defines their role in students' lives. Above all, teachers must demonstrate integrity, impartially, and ethical behavior in the classroom and in their conduct with parents and coworkers. Again, our first presenter, Ms. Beverly Pradilla. Second, Sir Al Francis Solomon. And third is our ma'am, no? Napakaganda. Mama Miso de la Cruz. And through yours, the host for tonight. I'm James Abison.
Okay.
We are so much grateful, sir. We are so much grateful for this references. And special thanks to Google.
Prayer pa, sir.
So thank you. But before we adjourn, we will close this
wonderful
Uh,
night,
can
sir.
we hold our prayer for a while because
Yes, sir.
our class is not over yet.
Sir.
I have to I have to give credits to whom they are due. So James, you will lead the prayer, the closing prayer later. So first of all, let me share my presentation. James, maybe you can just stop sharing
Okay, sir.
first.
Go back, sir.
Stop sharing, sir. Please.
Stop sharing.
Dato, alin dato?
Okay, it seems that our night is 99% complete already, right? Without
Yes,
me
sir.
giving additional inputs, I think you have already clearly captured what our presenters presented tonight with a clear, relatable, and maybe experiences. Those examples that they shared were actually taken from their personal experiences. So napakagandang pakinggan kasi kung yung mga experiences na ibinabahagi natin ay galing mismo sa ating sariling karanasan because through that we will be able to relate. Well, code of ethics can be very technical at times, but with your clear presentation with the examples you were able to give, I think you were able to give substance to the technical presentation of the Code of Ethics. So first of all, okay, the title of the presentation, the Code of Ethics for Professional Teachers, the relationship with internal stakeholders. So last time we discussed about external stakeholders, right? Talking about secondary and tertiary stakeholders. Our primary stakeholders are our learners. So tonight, we discussed about relationship with internal stakeholders, focusing on Article 5, 6, and 8. So we discussed about your relationship with the teaching community, your relationship with the higher authorities, and your relationship with the learners. So let me first, our presenters for tonight, we have Amisol de la Cruz, James Abisol, Al Francis Solongon, and Beverly Pradilla. So before I give my comments, let's give them a round of applause. Okay, very nice. Ako'y natuwa, no? Unang-una kasi sabi ko, kahit na wala ako, pwede nang mag-run ng session ng apat. Huh? Because from start to finish, they were able to sustain not only the energy of our host, but also the energies of our presenters from start to finish. I didn't feel any anything, any nervousness. I don't feel any nervousness. I could feel confidence as you presented your pieces. So congratulations, first of all, for the confidence, for the clarity of the explanation, and for the spontaneity in speech. That is one thing that I want also to, I want others to adapt. For example, you can make an outline of your presentation. And since this is an online presentation, you can have a copy of your examples and just read them. But of course, if you want to deliver it spontaneously because you believe that you are spontaneous, you're eloquent, then delivering it spontaneously can be just as good because that would also make your audience feel that what you are saying comes from your heart. There is nothing better than an example that comes from the heart. And I think I could sense the sincerity of your example. So on the aspect of delivery, I would like to say that collaboration was evident in the presentation. Of course, smoothly facilitated, well organized, well prepared. Also, the examples given were specific. They were relatable, and also transition from one presenter to the next was very fluid. So I like that because the host was there, and even though you experience a power interruption, but that did not actually destroy your composure. as you continue with your presentation. Siguro kung iba na yon, no, pag hindi ka ready, talagang pagpapawisan ka na or hindi ka na mawawala ka na sa sa track. So, tama, no? Yung
Malaking
iba ni
tulong.
Arisol, meron siyang kopya, magaling,
Yes.
no? Yun ang dapat because in the absence of technology, when you experience technical glitches, you cannot just say na, sir, wala akong kopya, so pwedeng mag-stop muna saglit. Bawal yan. Dapat as a presenter, you have to be a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, laging handa. So now that we are experiencing, now that we are using online engagement, and also we do not have control of everything like internet connectivity, like electricity. So in the absence of of one, there must be a second plan, and that is plan B. So very good, Amisol. That is why there was even no tinge of nervousness and anxiety, in your part. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And additional, of course, well prepared, well researched. You showed mastery of the topics delivered. I like also the modulation of the voice. You did not shout. The voice was just right. It could be heard pretty well, although there was a sort of echo sound on James' end. But that was bearable. It wasn't really that unpleasant to the ears. And also the volume was just enough for us to hear. And I like also the style of Amisol, unlocking difficult words, because I know there are a lot of words which are not so familiar
May
to us.
klase ko, sir.
So giving examples and the definitions of those words made the audience understand them even more. And I appreciate that. Although as an adult, when I encounter difficult words in the presentation, I sometimes use my Mariam dictionary in my smartphone, but that saves my time looking for words here because you already gave the meanings of the words. So that's pretty good. And also, yeah, excellent host, excellent presenters. Congratulations to all the big four, to all of you.
Yay.
So there
Thank
are
you.
maybe just a few things that we need to remember. I know that in every thing that we do, no matter how perfect we wanted it to be, there are still things to improve. And I think the room for improvement would give us a better perspective on how we can make our presentation even better. I know that there is no perfect presentation, even if you are an eloquent speaker, seasoned presenter, but still in everything that we do, there is always something that we need to improve. And I think that makes us human, and being human
Yes,
is
sir.
worth celebrating for. So we have to
Yes.
celebrate that we are not perfect. Okay, so before the room for improvement, on the PowerPoint rather, you followed the given format. Salute to that. Guidelines were excellently done or were excellently followed. You highlighted key points and concepts. Some of you even use red color, not the black color, although black all throughout, but it was red, so it's nice to see. And then pictures also complemented the texts. I like the pictures. They're not forced. They're there to give us additional meaning. So very good. And then uniform PowerPoint template. Great. Congratulations. I like also the design. It's not fancy. It's not overwhelming. And it's just perfect. I mean, the design that you have chosen. So congratulations for that. Room for improvement, maybe minor grammatical lapses. I know that even me, even seasoned speakers, when you are speaking verbally, sometimes slip of the tongue is very common, especially on the tenses sometimes. Pronunciation, maybe a little bit of pronunciation issues that we need to work on. Minor typographical errors I have seen. And also, please be careful with what you're saying because there is a difference between interest of the teacher than interest of the service. I would like to emphasize that it should be the interest of the service that prevails, not the interest of the teacher. Because if it is your personal interest that is biased, that is prejudiced, that is unfair. So it should be the interest of the service that
The
should
service.
prevail. So I think someone mentioned about that. So, but the text says interest of the service, but the reading, actually the what came out was different. So interest of the teacher yung lumabas, which is raw, which is not actually correct. So I'd like to emphasize that. But overall, you did very well. Congratulations. Again, you raised the bar even higher for the second group, and you gave another benchmark for the third group. No, I'm looking forward, of course, to seeing the third group present their topic, because I know that every meeting that we have, I have seen something new, and that new is really amazing. That could make us even better as teachers. And I would like to salute the group for having researched and for having given additional examples, because I know code of ethics can be very technical, as I mentioned earlier, but with your specific examples, you're able to put more life, more color, and more substance to our presentation. Just some key points that I want to emphasize here. One is that I want you to ponder on this. When little people are overwhelmed with big emotions, it's our job to share our calm, not to join their chaos, according to L.R. Nost. So it's very important to always be on our toes when we are bombarded with so many things around us. Sometimes teachers, even though we do not know the root cause of the problem, sometimes we are so good at joining the bandwagon, right? So sometimes, even though we do not really understand the whole situation, sometimes some people are so good at, joining the hulabaloo, or joining the commotion, or joining the bandwagon. No? So, which is why it's very important for us to always weigh things up before making decisions, before making wise decisions. And it is very important to always show our calmness when we deal with problems, because sometimes when we are bombarded with problems, and if we are on the peak of our emotions, we cannot decide on things properly. The same with driving. If you are driving under the influence of alcohol, your sense of judgment will be lost. Which is why it's very important, no? When you are on the road, you have to see to it that you are driving, without any influence of alcohol or drugs. That would help you. In the same manner that in teaching, when making decisions, we should not decide when we are still at the peak of our emotions. It is very important that we have to calm first. You have to calm down first before anything else. Or that if someone came to you or came up to you full of emotions, and also on the top of his emotions, we need to calm down. In that way, we can weigh things up properly. So that's very important, and that's one way that we can establish good relationship, not only with the fellow teachers, but also with the higher authorities, and also with the parents. Because we want to have good relationship, harmonious relationship with all our stakeholders. Now, in the presentation of Amisol, it was clearly stated there that we should treat we should treat our learners fairly, without prejudice, without favoritism, right? So, in the example here, how should we treat our learners? So it is very important that we should treat them also with respect. Binanggit kanina ni Amisol na halimbawa, nagpaguhit ka, kinder pa nga yung pinaguhit niya, no? Tapos gumuhit sila, color ng tree ay black, tapos ideally it should be green. Tapos you learned that from the parent that actually maybe that past experience of the child made him think that not all trees are actually green. But sometimes our mindset is that if it is a tree, it should be green. Sometimes you lose creativity, dear teachers. Sometimes our students are more creative than us. I think it's about time that we should not put ourselves, in the box. So yung parang think outside the box. Vincent van Gogh, a famous painter, yung mga kulay niya iba-iba eh. Yung kulay ng dagat, iba yung kulay. Yung kulay ng kahoy, iba ang kulay. Pero yung painting niya naging popular. But during his time, he was even questioned also by the people around him. Bakit ganyan si Vincent? Parang iba yung ano niya. So I think it's about time that teachers should get out of the box. It's about time that we should broaden our horizons. Hindi porket green yung nakikita natin, green na lahat. We should appreciate. And what you did, Amisol, was really amazing. Because
Yes,
you
sir.
respected what the child did. And on that note, I would like to say that we have to appreciate the drawing because that
Yes, sir.
shows the schema. You know, when we ask people to do things, much more our kids, all the things that they do are actually drawn from their schema, from their prior knowledge. And you know, the reason why the kid was able to, you know, draw that image of a tree with black leaves, it's because his schema of the tree actually has black leaves. That is why we cannot really question that because that's the child's schema. Now, if you want to add more schema to the child, then introduce to him that not all trees are black. There are also some trees which are green. In temperate countries, some of the trees are yellow, some of the trees are red, especially during autumn. Some of the trees are brown. So trees can come in different colors. That's how beautiful a tree can be. It comes in different colors. So I think it's just, you know, everything boils down to showing respect to our learners. Now, as a professional teacher, our interest here is the welfare of the learners. First and foremost concern, and under no circumstance shall a teacher be prejudiced nor discriminatory against any learner. So may mga pagkakataon na may isa ako, may pinsan ako dati. He was asked, there was a story told by the teacher in grade 7, and the teacher said that in that story, someone met an accident and that he had to undergo operation. And diba, pag may operation, there is a need for blood transfusion. So the teacher asked, if you were Ben, for example, if you were Ben in the story, what would you do? So the expected answer of the teacher was, I would donate blood, you know, to make Benny alive. But my first cousin said, would you donate blood? The teacher asked. And my cousin said, no, I wouldn't. The teacher got mad. And she said, you know what? How could you donate a blood when you are so pale? No, in the dialect, in the dialect. So you see, so sometimes yung what is ideal is not really what is real. Sometimes there are things that we want to draw out from our learners, but the answers are sometimes different from what we expect them to give. So I think we have to respect that because every learner has his or her own experience, and whatever comes out in their mouth are actually drawn from their experiences. So let us not be judgmental. That is why respect for our learners, respect for their abilities. Amisol also mentioned earlier that we can differentiate instruction. That is so true. Differentiated instruction in the context of the modular distance learning, there are so many parents who clamored about so many activities in the modules. But actually, as a teacher, if the teacher understands the role of those activities in the module, you would be able to explain to the parents na hindi naman lahat ng activities ay gagawin ng mga bata. Kaya as a teacher, you should know ilan ba sa mga learners mo ang kayang gawin ang lahat ng mga activities na to at ilan sa learners mo ang hanggang dito lang. So you have to identify that. That is why it is very important na meron tayong weekly home learning plan. Because the weekly home learning plan will detail the subjects that the learners will take on this particular day and time, and the activities that the learners will also perform. And like what Amisol mentioned earlier, we can differentiate the instruction by identifying who among our learners can answer all the activities in the module and how many learners can answer only 1 or 2 activities. Kasi kung alam ni teacher na gawin yon, hindi maghihirap yung mga estudyante, hindi magrereklamo yung mga nanay. So that is the role. Kasi ngayon, isa sa mga tinatanong ng mga may mga umiiyak, no? Grabe yung problema nila, hindi kaya yung modules. Depende kasi yan sa sa kaalaman ni teacher. Although we have been telling our teachers to always consider individual differences, but there are some teachers na medyo siguro lumampas lang yung sinabi namin. So siguro it's about time that we have to remind ourselves na not all learners, yung sinabi ni Amisol kanina, na one size fits all. It does not pan out in practice. Hindi po pwedeng isang module para sa
Para
lahat.
sa lahat.
So isang module para sa lahat, subalit yung mga activities ay iba-iba, no, sa bawat estudyante. So kung mayroong 5 activities doon, yung mga magagaling pwedeng ipaubos yung 5, yung mga hindi masyado, 3 lang yung ipasagot ninyo, o yung medyo mababagal talaga, siguro mga non-readers, pwedeng isang activity na lang. Kasi hindi naman sinabi na kailangang maubos nila yung activity sa module. Yung activities doon ay ibinigay to give our fast learners ample opportunities to develop and to enhance their skills. That is what you call interest and welfare of the learners. Hindi interest of the teacher, but interest of the service, interest of the learners always. Okay? So another question. Why do you think it is important to establish good relationship with other teachers and co-teachers? Isa yan sa mga dapat nating tandaan. At ito'y nabanggit kanina sa presentation ni Beverly, that the professional teacher is not an island. He works with other professional teachers, some more or less experienced than he is. It should have been than he is. So now, in the context of the 21st century learning, we encourage teachers to learn by groups, and that is what we call learning action cell. If you are familiar with LAC, learning action cell, wherein teachers are grouped into a maximum of 15 members in a team, and there is a leader, there is a documenter, there is also a what do you call this? Facilitator. So each teacher there has a part, and members, of course. So the role of the leader there is to facilitate. When are we going to meet? Who will be our facilitator? Where should we meet? And what topics should we discuss? So in that manner, they can collaborate. And it is sharing actually. Hindi siya lecture lang all the time. It could be sharing of experiences, sharing of problems that you may more or less have the same in common. And also together, you can come up with your own solution. So that is why it is very important to establish good relationship. And besides, it is also nice to have a linkage. Mind you, sa panahon ngayon, kinukulang tayo ng module. Kung may kakilala ka sa ibang lugar, sasabihin mo, may extra module ka ba dyan? O meron ako dito. You can share resources. That would also be a good way for you to outsource materials from other divisions. That is why as a teacher, you should be friendly. Not only in the teachers of your division, but of the teachers all over the Philippines. If you could also establish linkages of teachers outside the country, Japan, Korea, that would be even better. In that way, we can improve and we can more or less increase and expand our community of professionals, our community. In that way, we can gain also insights from them. So, how can we maintain our good relationship with other teachers? It's mentioned here that we should work in collaboration with our fellow teachers. Gossip destroys collegial relationship. That is why, as much as possible, hindi po tayo mag-gossip. If we have complaint on a particular teacher, you put it in writing. Because sometimes, if you tell it directly, to others, it might create chaos. Yun yung mga problema ngayon sa social media. Because isang mali lang ng isang teacher, pupost mo sa social media, magbayad na kayo ng utang mo sa social media, or sometimes nakalagay pa sa My Day. Mga ganung uri ng mga post, no? Iwasan natin. Respect, that's right. If you respect students, you also respect your fellow teachers. Kahit ganyan yan, puno ng utang, dapat respetuhin pa rin. Baka sabihin mo, puno na yan ng utang, respetuhin pa. So mali yan, walang ganyanan, Mars. No? Dapat lahat ay equal. Lahat ay pantay-pantay. So we are all teachers, no? So dapat we should respect each other. So that's part of establishing good relationship. And now, at all times, teachers shall be loyal to and trust and support one another for the common good. Wala po tayong laglagan. Bawal po talaga ang laglagan sa DepEd, lalong-lalo kung magkasama kayo, no? Bawal na bawal ang laglagan. As much as possible, it must be better if you have to discuss it first with your principal. Tapos pag-uusapan, ano ba dapat nating sabihin? No, ganito ang nangyari. Dapat ba nating may isang estudyante, may isang halimbawa, may isang teacher na na-involve sa isang estudyante. No, nagkaroon sila ng illicit love affair. Tapos ikaw teacher, alam mo. So nag-ano ka na, nagkwento ka na sa iba. So yung ibang teacher nagkwento din sa iba. Although I'm not saying that we should tolerate such kind of act. However, as much as possible, we should bring it to the right forum, to the right place, na hindi kung saan-saan ibubulgar natin, because that is not really good. No, we have to support one another, not on the tolerating part, but we have to support each other in such a way that we should not be the source of misunderstanding or the source of embarrassment of that particular teacher. Okay? And then the last question is that what attitude do we need to show to higher authorities? I'm talking about your school principal, your supervisors. If you are working for DepEd, then one day your higher authorities would be our undersecretaries, regional directors, superintendent, and also our secretary. So, paano natin mapaipakita yung anong attitude ang dapat ipapakita natin? Sinabi dito na it is unprofessional for a teacher to campaign against legitimate policies if the school and administration with which he disagrees. In contrast, the professional thing to do is to support the legitimate policies, even though as a professional teacher, one is personally against it. There is a saying that we should not bite the hands that feed us. Which means to say, napakasama mong tao na pinapakain ka ng DepEd, pero hindi mo kayang ipagtanggol yung mga programa ng DepEd. When we implemented K-12 for the first time, we were barraged by different complaints, different issues coming from parents, coming from different organizations, and there are some teachers who even betrayed us. May mga teachers na they also spoke against K-12 para hindi nila yung gusto yung K-12, ganito, porque ganito. You see, that is one example of unprofessional. If you are trying to campaign against a policy that has been implemented already in your department or your school, that should be avoided by the teacher. Because as a teacher, you have to respect not only your learners, not only your co-teachers, but also the higher authorities. And part of it is that you have to remember that you are being fed by whatever organization or whatever institution you're currently in now. That is why it is very unprofessional to speak ill against your organization or against that institution that employs you. So that is part of our role as a teacher and your role as future professionals. Okay, so congratulations to our 4 presenters. You did well in your presentation tonight. I couldn't thank you more for the time that you have shared. Please share your PowerPoint presentation. You can convert it to PDF so that it would be not so heavy to upload to Messenger, because if you use PowerPoint, I think it cannot be uploaded to Messenger. So please convert it to PDF and then share it with your classmates. Again, those who presented today would be exempted from making a reflection as your quiz. That
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Their reflection. So meron tayong reflection for those who did not present. So congratulations, and it's time for us. Do you have any questions? Wala na tayong questions? Okay, so kung wala ng questions, in addition na lang siguro, bago ko makalimutan, yung sinabi nating to provide assistance to our learners who are struggling, ito yung sinasabi nating remedial teaching. So dapat si teacher, bahagi ng trabaho ni teacher to provide remedial teaching to struggling learners. Ngayon, marami tayong struggling learners because it's modular. So what remedial intervention can you provide to your learners? So it's now the creativity of the teacher that is being tested in this time of the pandemic. So thank you so much. And James, it's your turn now to lead us the closing prayer.
Right, so thank you so much. I'll address that prayer to our Mami Sol. Okay, ma'am?
Okay, sir. Okay, everybody please close your eyes and bow your head. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank Thee, O God, for this great time that You have given to us this evening. Thank You, Lord, sa natapos namon nga report. Thank You for the